Are you eating clean, avoiding red meat, drinking herbal teas, and still watching your creatinine levels climb? If your GFR is dropping and no one can explain why, you're not alone. This silent decline is terrifying, especially when you're doing everything right. But here's the truth: most people never hear. There are 5 natural grains that can help lower creatinine and improve GFR, backed by real science, not guesswork. These grains don't just support your kidneys, they protect them before the damage even begins. And they're not the trendy superfoods you might expect. In fact, one of them works like a natural filter, trapping waste in your gut before it ever reaches your bloodstream. Another contains compounds that pharmaceutical companies spend millions trying to replicate. But nature's version works better than any lab can create. Today, I'm going to reveal exactly how these 5 grains can become your kidney's best defense system. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use them to create a kidney-saving meal plan you can actually stick to, without the confusion or contradictory advice that's probably been driving you crazy. But first, let me tell you about Margaret, a 68-year-old grandmother whose creatinine had jumped from 1.9 to 2.7 milligrams per deciliter in just 8 months. Her nephrologist was preparing her for dialysis when we made one simple change to her breakfast routine. We replaced her instant oatmeal packets with properly prepared steel-cut oats, following the exact protocol I'm about to share with you. Within 12 weeks, her creatinine dropped to 2.2 milligrams per deciliter, and her estimated GFR improved from 28 to 34 milliliters per minute. Her doctor couldn't explain the improvement until we showed him her food diary. The right grains, prepared the right way, had given her kidneys the support they desperately needed. Here's what most people don't understand about grains and kidney health. It's not just about avoiding harmful foods. The best grains actually work as your kidney's first line of defense, intercepting waste products and toxins in your digestive system before they ever reach your bloodstream. This reduces the workload on your already struggling kidneys, giving them space to heal instead of just survive. Number 1. Steel-cut oats. Let's start with the number 1 grain on our list, steel-cut oats. Not as a trendy breakfast, but as one of the few grains that actually lightens your kidneys' load before they even get to the damage. Steel-cut oats are rich in soluble fiber, which acts like a sponge in your gut. This fiber binds to nitrogen-based waste products, cholesterol, and excess glucose, all of which would otherwise travel through your bloodstream and end up in your kidneys for cleanup. When oats intercept that waste early, they reduce the amount your kidneys have to filter. That's not theory. It's how fiber physically works inside your body, and it gets better. Oats also contain powerful antioxidants called avenanthramides, which fight inflammation and oxidative stress, 2 forces that silently damage glomeruli, the tiny filters inside your kidneys. Lower inflammation means less pressure, slower scarring, and a better shot at preserving GFR. Here's something most people miss. Not all oats deliver the same benefit. If you're using flavored instant oatmeal packets, you're missing the point and possibly making things worse. Most instant varieties are high in added sugar and sodium, which drive blood pressure and damage kidney vessels. What you want are steel-cut oats or plain rolled oats, ideally unflavored, unsalted, and slow-cooked. These have the fiber intact, the nutrients preserved, and no additives working against you. Let's talk numbers. A single cup of cooked steel-cut oats gives you about 4 grams of soluble fiber. That's enough to start shifting your cholesterol profile, stabilizing blood sugar, and most importantly, reducing waste absorption before it ever reaches your kidneys. It also helps prevent constipation, which may sound unrelated but actually matters enormously. When your gut isn't moving waste out efficiently, your kidneys pick up the slack, working harder to eliminate toxins that should have exited through your bowel movements. Oats keep those exit routes open and flowing. How should you eat them for kidney support? Start simple. Cook your oats in water, not milk. Dairy adds protein and phosphorus, which can push creatinine higher in people already struggling. Use soft spices like cinnamon or cardamom instead of sugar. If you need sweetness, add a few sliced berries, never bananas, and absolutely never syrup. Skip the butter entirely. A drizzle of extra virgin olive oil is a smarter fat with anti-inflammatory benefits. Consistency matters more than perfection. Aim for steel-cut oats 3 to 4 times a week, especially in the mornings. That's when your body is coming off a long fast and glucose levels are easier to stabilize. Stable glucose equals less insulin equals less inflammation, and less inflammation equals less pressure on your kidneys. I treated Robert, a 59-year-old retired electrician whose morning routine of instant oatmeal packets was actually contributing to his kidney decline. Those packets contained nearly 400 milligrams of sodium per serving, plus artificial flavors and preservatives that created inflammatory stress. When we switched him to plain steel-cut oats prepared with cinnamon and a drizzle of olive oil, his morning blood pressure readings dropped by 15 points within 6 weeks, and his afternoon energy improved dramatically. The preparation method is crucial. Soak steel-cut oats overnight in filtered water, then cook them slowly for 20 to 25 minutes. This process softens the grain structure and maximizes the release of beneficial fiber compounds. Never add salt during cooking, and avoid pre-sweetened toppings that can spike blood sugar and create inflammatory cascades. Number 2. Buckwheat. Not everyone can handle the mineral load of common grains, especially when GFR is declining. That's where buckwheat quietly stands out. Despite its name, it's not wheat and it's completely gluten-free. But what makes it special for kidney health is this. It's naturally low in absorbable phosphorus and potassium, making it a safe option even for people on tighter restrictions. At the same time, it's rich in fiber, rutin, and magnesium, a trio that directly benefits your kidneys. Fiber supports gut health and waste removal, just like with oats. Magnesium relaxes blood vessels, helping to reduce the blood pressure spikes that slowly wear down filtration units in your kidneys. And rutin, a unique plant compound found in buckwheat, has been shown to improve circulation and reduce inflammation in capillary walls, including the ones surrounding the glomeruli. That's real structural protection from the inside out. Buckwheat also has a moderate glycemic load, which means it won't spike your blood sugar. That's critical for kidneys because every sugar spike comes with a flood of insulin. Over time, insulin overload worsens inflammation, raises uric acid, and hardens arteries. By keeping sugar stable, buckwheat prevents that inflammatory storm from even starting. Let's talk preparation and portions. Go for whole buckwheat groats, not the refined or roasted versions, unless you're using traditional kasha. Always rinse before cooking, and if you're boiling it, use clean filtered water and a pinch of turmeric or ginger for added anti-inflammatory support. Avoid cooking it in salty broth or pre-seasoned mixes. These often contain phosphorus-based preservatives that undercut everything buckwheat does right. A smart portion is half to 1 cup cooked, 2 to 3 times per week. Use it instead of white rice, mix it with chopped herbs, or turn it into a hearty salad with olive oil and lemon. You can also toast raw buckwheat lightly in a dry pan for 2 to 3 minutes before boiling it. This boosts its nutty flavor without the additives found in pre-roasted kasha mixes. For extra kidney benefit, cook buckwheat with a bay leaf or a pinch of cumin. Both support digestion and help reduce gas, making meals more comfortable for those with slower motility or bloating issues linked to CKD. Beyond digestion, buckwheat also affects vascular tone and filtration pressure. Magnesium and rutin work together to relax blood vessels and reduce the risk of microvascular damage inside the nephrons. That's especially helpful if you're managing high blood pressure alongside kidney concerns. Buckwheat protein is highly bioavailable and plant-based. That means it gives your body what it needs without burdening your kidneys the way animal proteins often do. It's not just a grain, it's a safer fuel source when muscle maintenance is still important, but protein limits matter. I remember treating Susan, a 64-year-old teacher with stage 3 CKD who was struggling with afternoon fatigue and blood sugar swings. Her lunch routine of white rice was causing glucose spikes that left her exhausted by 3 o'clock. When we replaced her rice with buckwheat groats, seasoned with fresh herbs and olive oil, her afternoon energy stabilized within 2 weeks, and her 3-month average blood sugar dropped by 18 points. Number 3. Pearl barley. Barley is one of the most overlooked tools in kidney care. Not because it's trendy, but because it works where many diets fall short: the gut. What sets barley apart is its dual fiber profile, soluble and insoluble fiber combined. Together they serve 2 crucial roles: feeding healthy gut bacteria and binding uremic toxins in the digestive tract so they never enter the bloodstream. That means less waste for your kidneys to handle, and that directly reduces their burden. This isn't just a digestion story. When your gut bacteria are thriving, they produce compounds like short-chain fatty acids that lower inflammation systemically. They help regulate immunity, blood pressure, and even glucose control. All of these are connected to GFR health. On the other hand, when your gut bacteria are imbalanced, harmful byproducts can leak into your blood and make their way to your kidneys, creating inflammation and oxidative stress. Barley helps shift that balance back in your favor. There's another edge barley brings: its ability to improve bowel regularity. Constipation isn't just uncomfortable, it slows waste removal and increases toxin reabsorption. That means your kidneys have to work harder to clean what your bowels didn't release. By keeping your digestive system moving smoothly, barley prevents the filtration system downstream from overloading. Not all barley is equal. Go for whole barley or pearl barley, but avoid instant barley products. Many prepackaged barley soups and quick-cook mixes are sodium traps loaded with salt and preservatives that can spike blood pressure and silently worsen kidney damage. Here's a simple way to make it work for your body. Soak barley overnight, then cook it in excess water just like pasta. Once it's soft, rinse it thoroughly. This process helps reduce residual phosphorus and improves digestion. Aim for half-cup cooked barley 3 to 4 times per week. Flavor-wise, barley plays well with kidney-friendly herbs like parsley, turmeric, and fresh garlic. Toss it into soups, pair it with sautéed low-potassium vegetables, or serve it cold in a lemon-grain salad. It's hearty without being heavy, satisfying without loading your kidneys with extra work. You can also grind cooked barley into a soft mash and use it as a creamy base for savory dishes. It mimics risotto in texture, but without the butter or high-sodium stock, giving you comfort food without the kidney burden. Barley water is another overlooked tool. When cooked barley is simmered in extra water and that liquid is strained, you get a mild, nutrient-rich drink that supports hydration and digestion. It's traditionally used in many cultures to calm the stomach and help with fluid balance, both of which matter when kidneys are under stress. Just don't sweeten it or mix it with milk. Keep it clear and unsalted. Barley also has a mild phytosterol effect, natural plant compounds that help lower cholesterol. For kidneys already struggling to manage filtration under pressure, reducing bad cholesterol eases cardiovascular load and protects the tiny vessels that feed into the glomeruli. I treated David, a 71-year-old retired mechanic whose constipation was contributing to his rising creatinine levels. His sluggish bowel movements meant toxins were being reabsorbed instead of eliminated, forcing his kidneys to work overtime. When we added pearl barley to his dinner routine 3 times per week, his bowel movements normalized within 10 days, and his creatinine stabilized for the first time in 6 months. Number 4. Brown rice. Rice is where most people freeze, especially those dealing with kidney issues. You've probably heard brown rice is off limits, too high in phosphorus, too harsh for compromised kidneys. That's only half the story. The type of phosphorus in brown rice is what makes the real difference. It's bound to phytates, which the human body absorbs poorly. Unlike the phosphorus in meats or dairy, which is absorbed rapidly and stresses kidney filtration, most of the phosphorus in plant-based sources like brown rice passes right through. That means brown rice can fit into a kidney-conscious diet if you prepare it correctly and watch your portions. Here's how to make it work. Always soak brown rice for a few hours before cooking, then cook it in plenty of water, and once it's done, drain the excess, just like pasta. This process helps remove surface phosphorus and reduces potassium levels. It also softens the rice, making it easier to digest. Stick to half a cup cooked per meal. That's enough to give you steady energy, stabilize blood sugar, and leave room for your vegetables and healthy fats without pushing your potassium too high. What brown rice brings to the table is more than fiber. It's also a source of magnesium, B vitamins, and slow-burning carbohydrates that help you stay full longer. That's critical if you're trying to avoid frequent snacking, especially on foods that trigger inflammation or insulin spikes. There's one mistake to avoid here, though. Don't mix it with high-potassium sauces or salt-heavy seasoning blends. Many people cook brown rice in broth or with soy sauce, thinking it's healthier than white rice, but these extras can silently overload your kidneys with sodium and unnecessary mineral additives. Instead, pair it with chopped bell peppers, zucchini, or steamed cauliflower. Add fresh herbs, a squeeze of lemon, and a teaspoon of olive oil. You get flavor without the damage. You can also try pressure cooking brown rice. This method breaks down more of the phytates without destroying the fiber, making it even gentler on digestion while slightly reducing its glycemic impact. If you're managing both kidney issues and insulin resistance, that small shift can make meals easier to process and safer long-term. For added kidney benefit, pair brown rice with spices like coriander, bay leaf, or fresh ginger while cooking. These support circulation and help prevent bloating, key for those on sodium-restricted diets where digestive sluggishness can become a real issue. Number 5. Bulgur wheat. If brown rice gives you steady fuel without overload, Bulgur wheat brings something just as valuable: speed, balance, and digestibility, especially when your kidneys need support without the weight. Bulgur is made from whole wheat kernels that are parboiled, dried, and cracked. That processing step actually works in your favor. It shortens cooking time, preserves nutrients, and makes the grain easier to digest without stripping away its kidney-friendly properties. What sets Bulgur apart is its low phosphorus and potassium content, especially when compared to quinoa, wild rice, or even some legumes. For anyone with declining GFR or who's watching their mineral intake, Bulgur becomes a smart, frequent-use option. It delivers fiber and micronutrients without loading your kidneys with work. But the value doesn't stop at low mineral content. Bulgur is high in insoluble fiber, which plays a major role in gut health and toxin elimination. Insoluble fiber acts like a broom, sweeping waste through your intestines and reducing the load that would otherwise spill into your bloodstream and then onto your kidneys. The less your kidneys have to filter, the more energy they can use to preserve function instead of reacting to overload. Beyond fiber, Bulgur provides a steady stream of B vitamins, including folate, niacin, and B6. These nutrients support everything from energy metabolism to red blood cell formation and help regulate homocysteine, a compound tied to cardiovascular risk in chronic kidney disease patients. Lowering homocysteine not only protects the heart, but also reduces pressure on renal arteries, improving oxygen flow and filtration efficiency. One of Bulgur's underrated strengths is its anti-inflammatory effect. The grain contains compounds that reduce C-reactive protein, a marker for systemic inflammation. Since chronic inflammation is a major driver of kidney decline, especially in diabetic or hypertensive patients, lowering inflammatory markers has direct relevance for preserving GFR. Let's talk about how to actually use Bulgur, because convenience is one of its biggest assets. Standard Bulgur, not the fine ground variety, cooks in about 10 to 12 minutes. Just combine 1 part Bulgur with 2 parts boiling water, cover, and let it soak until fluffy. No long boiling, no draining. It's kitchen-friendly, especially when energy or time is limited. To keep it kidney-safe, avoid boxed Bulgur pilaf mixes. These often include sodium-heavy seasoning packets or artificial flavor enhancers, both of which can drive up blood pressure and sodium retention. Go for plain bulgur and add your own fresh ingredients. Try this pairing: chopped parsley, a squeeze of fresh lemon, and a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. This combination not only lifts flavor but also supports digestion, boosts antioxidant intake, and makes the grain easier to tolerate. Lemon helps alkalize digestion, parsley adds potassium balance, and olive oil reduces oxidative stress on renal tissue. Serving size matters. Stick with half-cup cooked bulgur per meal, especially if you're pairing it with vegetables or a lean protein. That's enough to get the full fiber benefit without tipping your total carbohydrate load too high. Bulgur also has a low dietary acid load, which matters more than people think. Many chronic kidney problems are worsened by acid-forming foods, especially animal proteins, processed snacks, and sugar-heavy carbohydrates. Bulgur helps shift the balance toward alkaline, reducing systemic acidity and easing pressure on your kidney's buffering system. This isn't just theoretical. Lower acid diets have been linked to slower GFR decline in large population studies. There's also a texture advantage. Bulgur's light, fluffy structure makes it easier to chew and digest, which can be helpful for older adults or anyone with dental issues, fatigue, or limited appetite. The weekly rotation protocol. Each grain we've covered does something unique. Oats bind nitrogen waste and regulate glucose. Buckwheat nourishes without flooding your system with minerals. Barley feeds your gut and supports the kidneys indirectly through microbial health. Brown rice offers clean energy without the phosphorus hit. Bulgur keeps things moving gently and efficiently. When you use them in rotation, you create a dietary rhythm that supports kidney function from multiple angles: filtration, blood pressure, inflammation, gut health, and glucose control. Here's your weekly routine plan. Steel-cut oats 3 to 4 times per week, ideally in the morning. Buckwheat 2 to 3 times per week at lunch or early dinner. Pearl barley 3 to 4 times per week in soups or salads. Brown rice 2 to 3 times per week paired with low-potassium vegetables. Bulgur wheat 2 to 3 times per week, especially on busy days when you need quick preparation. You don't have to eat 5 different grains every single day. Just rotate wisely through the week. Aim for 2 grains per day spaced across meals, and keep total servings to half-cup cooked per grain per meal. The best companions for kidney-safe grains are high-water, low-potassium vegetables like cucumbers, cauliflower, bell peppers, and zucchini. Add a healthy fat like extra virgin olive oil or a few slices of avocado, and you've got a powerful inflammation-fighting meal. Herbs like parsley, cilantro, and turmeric boost anti-inflammatory action and help support digestion. Hydration also matters, but smart hydration. Unless your doctor has placed you on a fluid restriction, sipping water between meals, not chugging with them, helps with waste filtration and supports the fiber you're eating. I treated Patricia, a 66-year-old artist whose creatinine had been climbing steadily for 2 years, despite following a standard renal diet. Her problem wasn't what she was eating, but the lack of variety and the inflammatory burden from processed foods she thought were kidney-safe. When we implemented this grain rotation protocol, replacing her daily instant oatmeal and white bread with the 5 grains we've discussed, her creatinine stabilized within 8 weeks and actually began declining for the first time in years. Critical preparation guidelines. The power isn't just in choosing the right grains, it's in preparing them correctly and avoiding the mistakes that can turn kidney-friendly foods into kidney burdens. Always rinse grains before cooking to remove surface dust and reduce mineral content. Cook in plain filtered water, never in broth or with salt. Use herbs and spices for flavor instead of sodium-based seasonings. Soak grains when possible to improve digestibility and nutrient absorption. Never add dairy products which increase phosphorus and protein load. Avoid instant or quick cooking varieties that often contain additives. Skip flavoring packets and pre-seasoned mixes that hide sodium and phosphorus. Store cooked grains in the refrigerator and use within 3 days to maintain freshness and prevent bacterial growth. If you're starting to include these grains consistently, it's worth keeping a log of your creatinine and GFR numbers over 4 to 8 weeks. These changes don't happen overnight, but what you're doing is easing the strain one meal at a time. When you pair that with better sleep, gentle movement, and blood sugar control, you'll start seeing markers shift. Don't fall into the health halo trap. Just because something says whole grain on the box doesn't mean it's kidney safe. Read the labels carefully. Skip anything with flavor packets, soy sauce blends, broth cubes, or anything marked instant. These are often packed with hidden sodium and phosphorus additives that can undo everything you're building. Remember, your creatinine levels didn't spike overnight, and healing doesn't have to be extreme. It just has to be consistent. Small changes, daily habits, real progress. One smart meal, one smart swap, one grain at a time. These 5 grains represent a foundation your kidneys can build on, not just survive on. They work quietly behind the scenes, intercepting waste, reducing inflammation, supporting circulation, and giving your kidneys the breathing room they need to heal instead of just cope. What grain are you most excited to try first? Your journey back to better kidney function starts with your very next meal, and these grains are waiting to help you take that first step toward healing.